Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody's having a good morning this morning. And in today's YouTube video, I'm going to sort of share with you guys something along the lines of the video I did a couple weeks ago when I was talking about the closest calls I ever had in a bass boat. I'm going to give you guys my top 3 closest calls I've ever had towing a bass boat. And I've probably averaged 30 to 50,000 miles a year towing a boat for the past 30 plus years. So I've got well over 1,000,000 miles towing a boat. And if you guys tow a boat like I do, you know that, inevitably you're going to run into some situations that are potentially dangerous, close calls, maybe even wrecks, and so I want to share with you guys what I consider my top 3. I thought it might be interesting, and I'd be interested to hear your guys too. You can send me what your closest calls were too, because every time we have a close call, we become more aware out there, which is a good thing driving. So anyway, before we get started here, just a reminder, I'm working on Fish the Moment lake map breakdowns right now. If you guys want to check out some of these breakdowns, just go to fishthemoment.com. We're making lake maps for everybody across the country. If you got a lake you need broke down, your favorite lake, lake you want to learn more about, you can check them out there, fishthemoment.com. And also, just a reminder, a weekly reminder on my own personal channel here about the memberships I'm offering. I'm offering memberships to the channel. Basically what I'm doing is for the members, you get additional videos every week that aren't seen by the public, commercial free. Some of the membership stuff I got have access to my own personal email address. If you have a fishing question, you can shoot it my way and I'll answer it. And it's a really great way to support the channel if you want to support what I'm doing here. But anyway, if you're interested, you can go to just go to my YouTube page and click on the About section. And then there's a little tab that says Intuitive Memberships, and you can click on there to sign up. So a great way to help out the channel here. So anyway, let's talk about the 3 closest calls I ever had. And I've had a lot of what are potentially close calls. And, I guess I've been really fortunate over the years not to have a wreck. I've only, had one incident where, I had damage, which I'll tell you guys about. But I'll give you the top 3 in no particular order because they're all potentially super dangerous, but fortunately it worked out. First one was I was coming back from a tournament at the Potomac River about 15 years ago. Guys, back then I used to triple tow. If you don't know what triple towing is, I had a pickup truck, 3/4 ton pickup truck. I had a 25-foot fifth wheel on the truck, and then I towed my boat behind the fifth wheel. A lot of us used to do that back then. Aaron Martins and I used to camp together, Brent Chapman, there was Dion Guido Hibman, there's a lot of campground community we had there. And I did this for 5 or 6 years, towing this 70-foot plus rig across the country. And it was safe if you were going slow, which I always did. But obviously there was an issue with that was dangerous, and that's eventually why I quit doing it. But anyway, I was coming back from the Potomac River, and I was going through was Knoxville, Tennessee. And I was actually right. If you go through Highway 40 in Knoxville, Tennessee, it's like a 5-lane highway, and you're actually in the city going through the highway. So I was going through there. It was probably close to rush hour, 4 or 5 o'clock. I wasn't going that fast. I was going 55 miles an hour, just in the middle of the lane. All of a sudden, this guy in front of me, the hood on his car just flipped up. It just flipped straight up. And this guy slammed his brakes on. I was like, I don't know, probably 100 feet behind him. He slammed his brakes on out of reaction. He just sort of froze up, because he had his hood, came up like that. Slammed his brakes on, and I'm getting ready to pile into him, from behind. And I didn't have any choice. I was either going to nail this guy going 50 miles an hour, or I had to jerk it over in the other lane. And I didn't even have time to look in the other lane, and I just jerked the wheel over to the left in the other lane. The whole rig started fishtailing. Fortunately, there was nobody in the other lane, which I couldn't believe it, and I gained control back of the vehicle. And that one right there, that really shook me up there, because I just got super, super fortunate that there wasn't another car in that left lane. It would have been a bad deal if there had been a car in there, but I had no choice. I was either going to nail this guy, 100% nail him, or I was going to hit somebody in the left lane, and fortunately there wasn't anyone there. So I got really, really fortunate with that one. Okay, the next one I was going to Stockton Lake. I was actually going just fun fishing up there with a buddy of mine, and we were going. It was after daylight. It was a little bit after daylight, and up at Stockton Lake there. If you guys have never been up, there's a lot of like hilly 2-lane roads, and we were going to the lake. It's a little bit after daylight up there, and I hadn't seen a car forever. There wasn't a car, and I was pulling my boat, and I was climbing up one of these, fairly medium steep hills, and all of a sudden, the vehicle, I was going straight as a string about 45 or 50 miles an hour, and all of a sudden I just lost traction on my back wheels. My boat started fishtailing wildly, and I couldn't do anything about it. I let off the gas. I'm still fishtailing. The momentum of the boat fishtailing so violently threw me into the other lane on top of a hill. Fortunately, again, there was not a car coming because I was in the other lane at the top of a hill there, and it threw me into the ditch, and the momentum of the boat swinging wildly threw the boat off of my trailer about 100 yards into some farmer's field. And me and my buddy, my truck eventually ended up in a ditch. So it was in a ditch, but I was able to drive it out. But I looked over there, and my boat is literally sitting close to 100 yards up in this guy's field. I have no idea in the world how, the boat got thrown in there, but it did. And we weren't hurt or anything, but it was just super dangerous because, we didn't, there was no car coming the other direction. So anyway, I went back over to look what the heck happened there because we couldn't figure out. And the highway department or this county or whatever had just put down a layer of oil. We walked over there to where I lost control, and me and my buddy both fell down in the road because it was like a sheet of ice, greased lightning. It was like you put down, a bunch of bacon grease on the road or something. I never seen anything like that. In retrospect, I probably should have sued the county or whatever. Because I had major damages. I had major damages on my trailer. My trailer was totaled. I had damages to my truck. The boat I think it turned out to be like $15,000 in damage. So anyway, that was a situation where you just never know. I mean, I wasn't speeding. I was right in the middle of the lane going 45 or 50. Even the police, when they got there, I could tell that they were a little freaked out about it too. They didn't say anything to me about it. And that was potentially really dangerous. The third one, the last one I was going to tell you about, I was at a tournament at, this was, where was this? Lake Douglas? Yeah, it was Lake Douglas. Bassmaster Top 150 tournament, Lake Douglas. Or no, maybe it was the FLW. I can't remember. It was a tournament, Lake Douglas. And I was pulling my boat. I was on the way. Practice was over, and I was on my way to the tournament registration over there. And anyway, I was driving down to the tournament registration. I was driving down. It wasn't an interstate highway. It was just a regular county highway, 2-lane. So there was 2 lanes in each lane, 2 lanes going one way, 2 lanes going the other direction. So anyway, I'm going down this, and they were pretty small together. I'm coming down this straight direction, and all of a sudden, there's a car coming at me, straight at me, and there's right as where this car is coming towards me, there was like a stop sign, not a stop light, but a stop sign for somebody merging onto the highway there. The person that was at the stop sign pulled out in front of this car that was coming towards me, and this car it wasn't that far from me. It was maybe 100 feet or something from me. So this car pulls out in front of the car that's headed my way, and the car that is headed my way swerved super hard to not hit this car. The person lost control of it, and the car started flipping, actually flipping end over end, coming right at me. So I've got this car that's like you see it in movies. It's rolling towards me, and I jerked the wheel as hard as I could to the right, and this car just like rolled right past my boat. So I pulled it off the side of the road there, and this car's upside down in the middle of the highway, and there's this girl in there that's screaming her head off. So she's upside down, the car's mangled up. I called 911. This girl's upside down in the car, freaking out. There's freaking gas pouring out of the car. So I can't get her out. She's like completely wedged in here, and she's bleeding and she's freaking out. So I stayed there with her, until the EMTs came, until the ambulances come, and they had to cut her out. It was a bad deal, but it was like one of those action movies you see, where you see those car chases where the car's rolling. But I mean, I just remember this car rolling straight towards me like that. So it was like, could have been really bad. Car rolling on top of you going 50 miles an hour is not too good. But anyway, that's my 3 closest calls I've ever had, guys. Very fortunately, I'm grateful I've never ever, been injured in a car wreck. Shoot me your guys. I'd be curious. And another thing is just be careful out there. You have to be aware. You have to be very aware of what other drivers are doing. You can't take it for granted what somebody's going to do. Just because there's a stop sign or stoplight, you can't take it for granted somebody's going to stop there. And main thing is just sort of slow down. People call me a grandma driver all the time, and that's probably why, because I drive so much. So anyway, top 3. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Appreciate everything. We'll be back soon with another one.